What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I'm your host, the dad bod god, the bald, the beard, the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight, my guest is returning. He has been on the channel quite a few times. We did some NXT reviews with each other as well, which were a great time, great conversations. I always love talking to JT, and we got JT, the Future Shock Robinson, in the house tonight, and I'm excited to have another chat with him because, it's, like I said, it's always fun to talk wrestling with JT. PWA has a lot going on. They've got the LFG Let's Fucking Go tour about to commence, or in progress about to commence, I should say. And it starts next weekend at Salinas. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about his in-ring return, which we saw just last month. So we're going to get into that and much, much more. But before we do, let's take a quick second to thank our sponsor for this evening, and that is Sleefs.com. That is SLEEFS, Sleefs.com. If you or someone you know is an athlete, you need to check out Sleefs. Go and check out some of their armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, headbands, boots, mouth guards, and even go and check out those dirty boxes. That's right. Those dirty boxes are the most comfortable boxes you will find. They stay dry, they stay fresh, and they've got funky designs on the front to keep that person in your life entertained. So, guys, go and check him out. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Also, wherever you're finding us, please like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment. I appreciate it. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review. It helps in the analytics, helps us grow the show, helps us reach more amazing people, and help bring more amazing conversations to more amazing people. So help us out. Give us that 5-star review. But anyway, let's get into my conversation with JT fucking Robinson. Yeah! Boom, we're live. JT, welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you. Look, what an intro. I feel like I need to lift the energy now. Mate, you're blowing it out. I'm normally a very calm person. You're going nuts.
You know, I always bring the energy in these things, man. You know, I like to bring the entertainment value, and I like to sort of have amazing conversations. And as I said in the intro, you know, like every time you and I seem to talk, I get a chance to talk, I should say. I always enjoy these conversations with you because I enjoy your perspective of wrestling. You know, you've got a great mind for it. You've been around for a long, long time. I'm not trying to show your age there, but you know, I genuinely mean that, and it's great to have you back.
No, it's good to be back. Like you mentioned in the intro, we've got a bunch of shows coming up, and I just thought it'd be a good time to come back in, touch base. Josh, how are you, brother?
Josh Tattersall, who's currently in hospital at the moment. Hope you're getting out of there very soon, brother. Just keep your head up. We're all thinking about you, and you're in our thoughts every single day, bro. So keep it up, man. Keep fighting it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, if anyone's a true fighter, it's Josh. The stuff he's been through the last little while. So, yeah, good to hear from you, man. Really good to hear from you. But yeah, like it's good to be back on the show. Good to talk to you. Like we've been talking, obviously. We caught up just a couple of weeks ago. You jumped in, you got on the mic, you did the announcing for the Pro Wrestling Academy event. So let's ask you, how'd you feel?
Man, I felt good, man. You know what? Whenever I do something new for a promotion, I get really, really nervous. You know what I mean? Like I've done commentary for PWA, but I hadn't done ring announcing. And you know what I mean? Like how I do ring announcing elsewhere is different to how I've seen ring announcing done at PWA. So that's why I was like do I go like full out? Do I, you know what I mean? Like, am I trying to rile the crowd up? What, you know? But then I was like, I mean, I just went with it and sort of had fun with it. And to be honest, I had a lot of fun at the show. And I got to put over, you know, all the wrestlers and performers of that night. Put on an amazing show. I couldn't believe some of those people were having their first matches. Like, that blew my mind, honestly. And that just goes to show the quality of training and coaching and nurturing that the Pro Wrestling Academy really gives to its you know, students and its, you know, roster, essentially.
Definitely, like, you know, a bunch of those guys have been waiting and scratching and itching to make their debut for a while. So it was really great that we can go in there and do that. And you know, I've been joking with the other guys. From a crowd perspective, obviously it was all their first matches, and we put them all on at the same time. That show outdrew Robbie Eagles and the Velocities versus was it Robbie? I can never get the match right. I think it was Robbie and the Velocities versus Aussie Open. Some kind of combination there. I can't remember. I've got a terrible memory. Hit the head too many times. But yeah, it's just funny. But that show there, I think we squeezed about 140 people into the academy. So it was a really great debut for a bunch of those guys that have been working really hard to get that opportunity. Far different to my early matches where I wrestled in front of a father and a son. So that was a father and son there, but there was many fathers and sons at this show. So these guys got lucky.
That they really did, and I think it was like such a good, safe place for them to have a first match where it's like in front of, like, you know, a majority of like family, friends, and, you know, like, and a few hardcore fans as well, that really sort of, you know, everyone knowing, okay, this is something new for these people, let's get behind them and support them. And I think they put on a hell of a show, and I genuinely mean that. I was blown away. The Tuck Man to me has to be one of my you know, favorite comedic you know, performers of the show. And you know what, to be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing interactions with between him and Big Fudge eventually down the line, because I reckon there's going to be some money to be made with those two.
No, definitely the Tuck Man. Like I even mentioned in the pre-show meeting, the Tuck Man is definitely one of my favorites. And what we saw at the academy, like, most people didn't get to see it because we put it up, we put the tickets on sale. Did not do one social media post about the show being on, and it sold out within minutes. But yeah, when you do get to see the Tuck Man, you're going to be very excited. We got to meet the Tuck Man during COVID. So we spent a lot of time during COVID doing online sessions, promo class, things like that. And that's where we got the first glimpse of the Tuck Man. And I knew once he starts getting on the shows in front of people, it's going to be very entertaining. And yeah, the matchup with Fudge would be great.
Yeah, I think that would be just absolute. Like, I'd want a front row ticket for that one. But like, let's take it back a little bit. So we'll go further into the PWA LFG tour, but I want to talk about this. Like, about a month or so ago, at a Newey Pro show, the Future Shock shows up, right? And you know what? Like, you and me, like, talk here and there, like maybe once every week or two, we'll shoot each other a message. I had no idea that this was happening. I was actually watching the show, and I think I was watching the show on IWTV.
Yeah,
And then it was
yeah,
like, you showed up. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker! Look at it, what, dude? Like, what inspired you to give it one more crack, to get back in there one more time?
As it often is, and it probably will be one last time. Or actually, I might have a spoiler for you later tonight. But it was more just a chance. Like, we're at the Metro, and you know, obviously I've known the Newey boys for ages. Helped train one of the main owner up there. But you know, I've known them for, geez, half easily for, it's going to be at least 15 years or more now. And we're just there, and one of the other guys, I won't say his name just in case he doesn't want people knowing. But he was like, "Do you think anyone would make any noise if you came out at the Rumble?" And I said to him, "Mate, it would be crickets, but the noise would be from backstage with you guys laughing at me coming out of the ring to silence and no one caring." And he's like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then that was about 6 weeks out, I think, from the Rumble. And so I just said, "All right, well, you know, if you want me to do it, you got to tell me now because I'm old." and I love to drink Coca-Cola, which makes me fat. So I need probably a good 5 or 6 weeks to be able to go down there and do my thing, so I don't come out like the Incredible Blob. And they're like, all right, yeah, if you want to do it, do it. Got the message, and then yeah, just went from there really.
Like, and how did you find, like, afterwards, like after going out there and being in the Rumble, like, how did the body hold up?
Not well, not well, not good at all.
No.
No, no, definitely not. So that was a big part of the reason as to why, like, I haven't been doing it for ages. I had a couple of shoulder surgeries. Um, Probably did a few too many stupid things when I was younger as well.
I've
Bump
seen the
wise, so
Instagram posts.
yeah, so they haven't helped. And like, newsflash, I'm like 44 years old, so I shouldn't be doing that stuff. But yeah, so it was yeah, because I haven't been doing it regularly too. I think if I had been doing it, every week all the time for like, not stopped and not gone to the situation where I haven't been in the ring for 2.5 years, I think it was.
Yeah.
My body would have held up better, but it definitely was not in a good spot there. To the point where some of my close friends were very much telling me that if I ever get in the ring again, it's all over. So, but yeah, other than that, next day I was fine. It was only that night, so
Oh
quick
wow!
healer.
So next, yeah, because I'd imagine it would be the day after is when you'd really start feeling it. But the next day you were like,
I was feeling it all the way from or before I even got backstage to when I got home that night. And then when I woke up in the next morning, just like any other time when I've wrestled, a bit of muscle soreness, bit of hobbling around the place, and then good. But definitely coming back, I'd not been in that much pain in a long time, and I'm normally pretty good with pain, but that was very special.
so are you one and done now, or do you think that you're gonna want to try and get back in and do like a match here and there, or like wrestle regularly?
No, definitely not wrestle regularly. I don't even think it'd be a match. I think I may become a Rumble specialist. Um, and speaking of Rumbles, live on the Gold Coast on Saturday, the 1st of October, there will be a 20-man Rumble, so you never know who might pop up. There's a reason I've got this ridiculous hair still. So, but no, so it's but yeah, no, I think like definitely my body can't do it. I'm too old to be doing it to it. The other part besides the injury is also I don't want to take a spot away from someone else. I think I mentioned that to you before.
Yeah,
I have no doubt at a level I could probably get in there and compete and perform at a level where I won't embarrass myself based on the show that I'm on. Um, but that's based on the show that I'm on, not based on me wanting to be good, sort of thing. So
yeah, 100%, 100%. And you'd kind of want to go in there and at least put on some like a good performance. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't want to be going there and just have like something, not mean anything or just be,
yeah,
something you're gonna regret later.
definitely. And like I think that's where I got really lucky. Like it was cool on the night to do the Rumble in Newey. No, it was mainly because I wanted to work with a bunch of people that I haven't had the chance to, or there's so many people in that Rumble that I helped train or had a part in training. That was great. And even some of the new Newey guys that I really rate came up and were like, "Hey, can we do this?" I was like, "Yeah, cool." But yeah, it's their time. It's not mine. My time is well and truly gone. And I also enjoy what I do now too, backstage too. That gives me a good buzz when things there go correct now. And I'm
But
shivering for some reason. Sorry, mate.
no, you're right. So like, the backstage role, like out of that and performing in the ring, what do you prefer? Like if you could go back and you could sort of be in a backstage role from the very start, like beginning, would you do that, or would you have done the preferred to be the pro wrestling side of things? Like what was your preference?
Oh, like I pretty much have done the backstage role at every company I've been at. Be it IWA when I first started, and then AWF obviously when I was there for ages, and since I've come to PWA really, and definitely once the new owners took over, I was definitely involved in there. But they're different things, right? Like the backstage sort of role is like, all right, cool. Like I have a legitimate interest in making logistics and live event management and that sort of stuff. I just from being around it for so long, I have an interest in it. But yeah, nothing's going to beat obviously getting in the ring and having that match and getting that desired outcome from the crowd. I'm not really the spotlight. Like I've never been that guy that's like, hey, I've got to be the champ or anything like that. But just being able to get out there and bring that reaction, wanting to get a reaction and being able to achieve it from the crowd. I think nothing comes close to beating that.
Yeah, you mentioned like you never really wanted to be the champ or anything like that. Was that because like you were just didn't really want to be that main event, right? Like you didn't want to step into that role as the main event to be the guy carrying the championship, or was it just like what was that mindset like? Like where did that come from?
I'm a very lazy person, so um,
I
as
can
much as
understand that.
yeah, as much as like people make jokes about like I do this, I do that. At the end of the day, I'm a very lazy person, but I'm also self-aware as well. And again, the same as the reason that I don't want to get back in and become a full-time wrestler again. I'm super self-aware, Robo.
Right.
I'm super self-aware on what I need to do if I want to do something, or what I need to do if I don't want to do something. And for me to want to be in that role as a champion, and I know people say if you don't want to be champion, you shouldn't be in there and shouldn't do this and all that. Yeah. But like I'm self-aware to know that if you want to be the champion of the company, you have to put that work in the gym. You have to put that work in the training. Training was no problem. I always put the work in there. But going to the gym, I like, besides being lazy, I also like junk food. So
Same here, man.
probably,
Same.
I wonder if they're connected. But yeah, so it's like I'm not going to be a body. I'm not going to be a body guy. And I'm also not going to be. I can talk shit, but I'm not a good promo. I don't think. So it's just that self awareness, and I'm like, okay, this is my spot. Um, I'll go out there and show my ass, get beat up,
Yeah.
and come back and be the bad guy. But to be, I think, especially now, definitely now, to be that main event sort of caliber wrestler, you have to be able to do it all. You have to be good promo, be in good physical condition, and also have great matches. Um, my matches, I think, are entertaining, but if I put them on Fight TV, they'd be bored. People watching at home on TV, it won't translate.
You don't think they would?
I'm a live event wrestler. I'm not a TV wrestler.
Is it because like wrestling for the TV, you've got to like I don't know, work to the camera to a certain extent? Is that why you're more like work to the audience in front of you?
Probably that's a fair call. Like I like to just engage with the crowd a lot more than what you do. Someone watching at home, 12 minutes of a match or 20 as we did back in the day of me pointing my finger at someone in the crowd and doing that shit. It's not going to be that entertaining. Doesn't mean I didn't bring it out sometimes when I wanted to, and if I was with the right people that could bring it out of me. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not that guy.
No, that's fair enough, man. Like, you mentioned, to be the champion, you like, or to be like the top person, you've got to like put the time in the gym, put the time in training, be good on the mic, be putting on good matches. How many, like, what would you say the percentage is of performers today that are gunning for that spot? Like, would you say it's like 100% of them are all trying to be the top guy or the top person? Or is it like 50, 40? Like, what would you say it is?
It's hard to put a percentage on it. Like I think definitely the ones that I'm seeing and spend most of my time with at shows are doing that. Ricky's the example. Hopefully he won't watch. That's all right. I can put him over for a change. But the guy legitimately had a lot of issues that he should not have been anywhere near a gym, should not have been anywhere near training.
Yeah.
But he just can't help himself. Like he has a goal that he wants to achieve. And so he's training 5 days a week, 6 days a week, plus in the gym that many days, probably 7 days a week. He's a maniac. Doing everything like that. even though like we're not WWE, but we do get invited to some corporate gigs and that sort of stuff. So he's going out
Yeah.
doing that sort of stuff, doing this musing. So he's putting in all the work. I look at guys like Jimmy Townsend, who's trying to get to that space there. So he's doing the same thing. He's putting in the work at the gym. He's putting in the work at training, all that sort of stuff. So like the top echelon, like of our training school, the guys that are on shows, they're all putting in that work. Well, the most of them are.
Yeah.
No one's flying by just on their gimmick alone.
No, and I think that like wrestling in Australia, like it's so like there's so many wrestlers in the country, like you know what I mean, like and like everyone is busting to get on shows, and you can see that, like you know what I mean. I work a lot like at shows. I'm at a lot of shows. I see a lot of the guys there that are just hungry for that opportunity, guys and girls I should say, or people just hungry for that opportunity. And it's great to see, because it's like it's great to see that like this industry here in Australia, professional wrestling, is we could see like 3, 4, 5 people go and get signed tomorrow, and then Australian wrestling still be healthy and have like 5 people that, like, you have 10 people clamoring to take those 5 spots. You know what I mean? Like that's where I think Australian wrestling has got such an abundance of talent that are just now, getting on shows or being on shows or traveling abroad, but the talent is definitely here.
No doubt. Like I think had the pandemic not have happened, 2 years ago, you would have seen easily 2 or 3 people for sure be over in one of the major companies in the States right now. The Velocity just got back from a European trip. That kind of stuff hasn't happened in this country, where all expenses paid trip to go to Europe, wrestle for 3 months, go all the way around the world and that sort of stuff. That hasn't happened here in probably 30 years. At a high level. Back in the days when you've interviewed Ken Dunlop.
Yeah.
Back in his day, like that's the last time that kind of stuff was happening. Everyone else who's gone there has been self-funded. So the fact that someone's going to spend the money and like to get from Australia to the UK, it's probably $2,500 to get over there. And the Velocity is a tag team, so there's someone spent $5,000 just to get them there, plus then paid for them, put them up in accommodation, paid their match fees, all that sort of stuff. So like that shows the work that and the reputation that we're building around the place.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, when someone spends that money to fly someone over internationally, like you want to make that money back tenfold. Like and that's the thing. Like to see that guys here are being flown over and given, like, how long have they gone for? Like 2, 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
3 months to go over there and like wrestle full time. I'm assuming that they were
Yep.
wrestling full time. That just speaks of the quality of Australian wrestling, and also the quality of them as a tag team.
Yeah, no, like it's like I know, like again, back before the pandemic, like I think we had at one point 3 or 4 people. Definitely the quality of the Velocity.
Yeah.
They are one of the best tag teams here. We had 3 or 4 people again flown over to do Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And that is seen by many as being the best independent workers in the world in PWG. Like they go over there doing those events and being brought in for those events. And there's a high number of those people living in California, not far from Reseda, where they can get them in there. And they've chosen again to fly people out from this country here, again another $1,500, $2,000 in expense that they did not need to do.
Do you think that, like, when people get flown in, and I'm talking like flown in from wherever to here or from here over there, is the financial gain worth it for like to fly someone in?
I think depending on the business model, so definitely for PWG, absolutely, that they don't stream. They still only sell Blu-rays, DVDs of their events. Their tickets sell out the minute they go on sale. So for them, I'd have no doubt that they'd make their money back over tenfold. And obviously, if you bring something out for 3 months, you've got that longer period of time to gain back that financial investment. The hardest thing is coming the other way for us to bring someone here to Australia. we're going to bring someone out here and they come in and do 1 or 2 days. We've got the Fight TV, so we can make some money there. But if we're selling out a venue at 300 or 400 people at a venue without anyone, which is the number one goal of PWA at the moment, is we are Australia, we are Australia's best wrestling company. We're building it around our Australian talent. We may have international guests from time to time, but the people that are selling out our shows, we're not flying anyone across the world to come and work for us, and we're managing to sell that out. But on the occasions that we do bring someone out, that's all built on the back of the other shows that we've done.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, to sell out a crowd of 400 to 500 people, and on local talent, and that's the thing. It's like you can fly in talent from interstate, and PWA does that from time to time, but nothing like, not like every single show. You know what I mean? So it goes to show that the draw is PWA, and also the roster that is built.
Well, that's definitely, like, to me, that's the main thing we want to push, right? Like, I've worked in other companies before, and I know there's still some out there now that are, fly in 2 or 3 talent, and they get less than 100 people there. And I just, again, I mentioned at the start, I like logistics, I like business. The business person and business brain in me is thinking, and I know these people aren't flying them out and coach as well. So I'm just like, the business brain in me is like, just to cover their airfare, you've got to get, 200 plus people in that venue to cover that.
Yeah,
And no doubt reputation spreads in the street, like in indie wrestling. So
yeah,
no doubt, if someone knows that someone's flying internationals over all the time, they're not charging in the I'm going to go to New York price. They're charging them I'm going to go to the Australia price,
yeah.
where some guys are throwing around cash. And so it makes it very hard. So that's one thing that we're really proud about, that we're able to do that. We sold at the Metro, Australian talent only, no internationals. You know, we've got we're taking a big swing with the Roundhouse on the 21st of October. Like, I think that can be configured up to fitting 900 people in there. We're normally doing okay. We're normally selling 300 to 400 tickets for our factory shows
Yeah.
and all our other ones. Metro, I think I said 600 or 700 people there. But that Roundhouse show is going to be a big challenge for us. But we want to prove to ourselves that we can do these kind of things.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and selling out a 900 person venue, even like to get 4, 5, 600 people to an indie wrestling event, or whatever it is. Like, I think it goes to show. But I think as well, like, PWA really sets a standard as far as like production, and also quality of wrestling, I believe. Like, I've taken, and I've said to you before, I've taken a friend who was a non-wrestling fan, and after the show he was just like mind completely blown, because he was expecting to see something at the local, something happening at the local RSL club or something like that, and I took him to the factory theater. He's like, what? Like, from the moment he walked in, and then when the matches happen again, just mind just keeps exploding on this guy.
No, definitely, and that's to me, again, from a business standpoint, that's the biggest issue we have. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? Like, our biggest issue is getting new fans. Once we've got you as a fan, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, you're going to keep coming back, and because you're going to have a good night, you're going to enjoy yourself, and you're going to keep coming. The biggest challenge we have is getting that first person to walk through the door. But once they're in the door, yeah, I think we've got a good strategy to keep people in. We provide good entertainment. Compared to other entertainment, it's not too pricey. You can get into our shows, I think, still for, like, the Black Label shows, still for about $35. You can obviously get better tickets, but I think that's somewhere around where it starts. Some maybe even the 20s. But like, you're going to go out there, you're going to get a good night. We're going to be at a good venue. You can get drinks. There's going to be 9 out of 10 times there's going to be a full house, and everyone there is there to have a good time. So that's the thing. I think people go there and see that, and like you said, it's an eye opener to them. They're not seeing like it used to be back when I was wrestling. Most of the time, you're not in a basketball stadium, like I said earlier, with 2 people sitting there in the front row, and you go there and you're like, oh, what's this? And never come back to a show again.
Yeah, like it's, and that's the thing. It's like, you have. I think the setting the standard and setting the expectation for people that when they come in, they're expecting something smaller or something, and then they see like what PWA does, and I think that's where it's like the crossover happens. I think live wrestling as well is such it grabs people's attention more. Like I was actually having this conversation with someone at PWA the other week that I took my elder son who's 6 to a wrestling show that I was on. And like I thought, oh, how's this going to go? He's been to 2 shows now, and he sits there and he was like, the first time he was just like enamored with it the whole time. From like as soon as he saw the ring, he was staring at the ring and he was like just watching it. And then he just watched every match, and then he raved about it. Tried putting wrestling on TV in front of him. Not interested. Like I tried pulling out Hogan. I tried pulling out everything I could, and nothing. He was like, "No, not interested."
No, it's probably the same as what I was saying before about like with lifestyle. Like I can take a guess which show you took him to, and those shows are designed for like that kind of interaction to get people in, like more targeted at the kids and that sort of stuff. Whereas if you're putting on the TV, it's good wrestling, but it's not targeted to that. Like it's not targeted to a live audience. It's targeted to the TV audience.
Yeah,
So yeah, I could definitely see that being the case.
yeah, and but it's weird though, man. Like I'm really trying to get him into it, but you've got kids, man. Like, are your kids into wrestling?
On the fringes. So I thought the older one was actually going to join up and do the tryouts early this year. So
Oh,
we'll see what
really?
happens. Probably the second one, if he does, he'll be good. He's almost my height now, so he's just under 6 foot, and he's only, what is he, 14, 15. So he's probably going to be, I call him my giant son because he's probably going to be taller than me by the end of this year.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he's pretty into it still. But like, they just watch the clips and the social media stuff and that sort of stuff. The older one's a bit more keen. He watches all the fight TV stuff. And they watch some of our PWA stuff now, which is cool. But yeah, they're not. The younger one doesn't care about, like the younger one. He's 12. He doesn't give a shit about wrestling.
But do they sit down and say, "Hey, Dad, show us some of your old matches"? Like, do you?
Oh,
Like,
no, definitely. Like I know either the older one or the middle one, they'll go around and look at cage match and that sort of stuff and see some of the stuff about me. Or occasionally, like they'll come back if I'm doing a promo or something for one of the live PWA events.
yeah.
They'll give me shit about it when I come home and start quoting it to me. But no, they're definitely not going out of their way to watch any of my matches.
But like, as a parent and like and someone involved in wrestling for a long period of time, if your kids did say that, "Hey, I want to do this," like, would you be cool with it?
Yeah, like I'd have no problem if they want to do it. Like I said, the older one was thinking about it for a while, um, and he might end up still doing it. I don't know. Depends on what he wants to do. But the same with anything with my kids. Like if they say, "Hey, I want to do this," go for it. Like I want to wear big wings and jump off stuff and flap my arms like a bird. Go for it. Do it. Um, you know, like I've been pretty lucky. Like I've been able to do whatever I wanted to do really without my parents. Like as much as I hated it. But like that's the thing. Like you only get one life, and you get older, you realize that. As long as you're not hurting anyone else and doing anything else, do whatever you want. Go out and try it. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to end up living in my house longer. I can't kick you out. But whatever they want to do, like I encourage them fully. And if they wanted to do the wrestling and took it serious and got into it, I'd map out a pathway for them to be able to do that properly.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think they'd have the best opportunity to succeed by, just, "Hey, Dad, let's do this." Like, yeah, maybe you could, manage the tag team of the Robinson boys or something.
Mate, they're animals. They're monsters. One of them just walked through now. He's probably just eating my dinner. All they do is eat. So, but no, like that's the thing. If that's what they wanted to do, and was serious about it, that's my only main thing. Like, whatever you do and whatever they want to do as kids. If they really want to do it and they want to do it serious, I'm all for it. If you want to same as anything else, if you want to half-ass it, then all right, cool. Like, tell me when you're serious about something.
Yeah, no, 100%. But so let's get into the PWA LFG, the Let's Fucking Go tour.
Is that what it means?
I don't know. I'm assuming that's what it means. You know what I mean? I'm a foul. You know me. I'm foul mouthed. So
I think it's on. I think it's on one of the posters. So you might be right.
Let's freaking go.
Maybe that's the unsocial Jordan version. So
let's get into it, man. Like, we've got the Selena show, which is next week.
Sure. So that's unofficially part of the tour, I believe. But it's the week just before we kick off. But yeah, definitely next week. Selena's for Cherries, all that. Only our second time at that venue. The last one did really well. Really excited to see what happens on that show there, because obviously we've got two big matches coming up on there. We've got obviously Cherries, all that. So we've got Cherry going against Mick Moretti for the Soul of PWA Championship. That should be a really, really good match. Anyone who's followed Cherry since she's come up, and she didn't get angry at me. Other people got angry at me when I didn't acknowledge at the rookie show, but she was actually one of our first dingoes. She was like a dingo for like 2 shows, I think. So people got angry at me for that. But I told you, shit memory. But no, I'm really looking forward to see that. And obviously in the background to that match, you've got the Will Ketis and Big Fudge bet as well. So there's some stakes to that match as to who is going to win the bet. Plus, also, will Cherry win the belt? So that's cool.
You know what? Like, Cherry Stevens, her reaction at the last Black Label show when she came out, like, to me, was just absolutely deafening. Like, that was to me. I think she got the pop of the night. That was like,
yeah,
it's like, wow.
No, I think it's we've talked about the wrestling and the great wrestling that PWA produces, but I think something that they don't get a lot of credit for sometimes, which is always entertaining to me when I read the social media comments, is that people go in there and say we don't do storylines, and we don't do good storylines. Yeah, it was. And so I put it out there. I have nothing at all to do with the booking, so I'm not taking any credit on any of this stuff. But so if I wanted to, I could shit all over it because I have nothing to do with it. But I think we actually do a really, really good job in telling stories. It wasn't until I was watching something further back that I realized that the Fudge and Keita stuff has been going for a while, and just the way that they've been going, and then they've incorporated Cherry into it, and now it's at this point here. That's cool. We've got all these other stories like the Ricky stuff and Unsocial Jordan. That's been going for a while, but it's been kept fresh again by introduction of other stuff. Now you've got Mick involved with that as well. Mick won the belt. Then that sort of brings Lucci into it as well. So all that kind of stuff has been happening for a while, and I think that's just evident. Especially now being Selena's next week, but Cherry is in that position there where she's going after a championship quite young into a career. And if you watch our PWA championships, they don't go on the line very often. We really build to big matches when we want to defend those belts. So she's done fantastic, I think, to go up there and become a challenger for that.
One thing as well, like I find with PWA and the championships, I think what PWA does really well with the booking is make the championships mean something. Like,
we have to.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, you see other companies and it's like they don't really make, like, you know what I mean? Like, the championship is more of a prop, whereas like PWA really makes the focus of the championship and puts the importance of it on. Where it's like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, you don't sort of like hot potato, titles very often. You know what I mean? Like, I think the closest thing to that would have been the tag titles, that we saw like exchange hands like a few months back, right? So I think that to me was probably more shocking because you don't see that happen in PWA often. Usually you are seeing long championship reigns. And I think that shows the investment in the performer as the champion, because I feel like if you put a championship on someone for like one show and they lose it the next show or the show after that, how's that person been given an opportunity to perform as a champion on 2 shows?
No, definitely. Like I think I like again, it's another thing that I really like what we do is coming in there and telling that story and tying it back to the championship and making it mean something. If you are hot potatoing the belt around the place and it's going from one person to the next person to the next person, what are they really fighting for? Like, in some of the promo classes we do, one of the coaches there really stresses to people, when you're building up your matches, you've got to have stakes. Something has to mean something in order to have those matches. If that belt means something, then straight away you've got instant stakes. Plus, then you add on to the storyline. In this case here with Cherry, you've got the bet with Fudge and Ketis plus the championship match. So you've got a whole lot riding on the outcome of that match.
Yeah. No, and I think it puts a lot of emotion into it as well now, because like I think the storyline that you saw unfold there was like the bet between like Fudge and Ketis, like as the story plays out, seemed to be like, oh, this is pretty funny and lighthearted to start off with, but then seeing like Cherry's reaction when it was like it was a bet, and you see that emotional and like, and even the crowd there, like I was in that crowd, I saw the crowd just being like, oh, you know what I mean, like get that sympathy straight off the bat. And then when she came back out, whoa, the place just erupted, because it's like, okay, now she's going to come and get what, her own here. Like, you know what I mean? Like that to me, and then her going over in the match and everything like that. Then the pop at the end of that as well was just ridiculous. So I think it's, PWA does do good storytelling, but I think they do it subtly. I think you guys do it subtly in a lot of ways.
It is, and that's the thing, and that's what I was saying before with the social media stuff, where I laugh at it. It's like, because I think this through WWE, people have just been trained so quickly. They're like, if it doesn't happen within that 2 hour or 3 hour block, it means nothing. Whereas, we'll come in and we'll drop breadcrumbs all the way across. There's a whole bunch of breadcrumbs. If you go back and actually look at stuff, there's there. And I see, like Robbo's been commenting, I see a couple of times he might pick a couple of them up, but there's still a bunch of them where he's like, what's happening here? Whether he's doing it just to make it the report, play along in the report or not. But there's a whole bunch of breadcrumbs that we drop through most of the matches. Like, we don't try not to do matches just for the sake of matches.
Yeah.
We actually try to do something where it's always going to be leading to something else. And you see people come online and this barrier going, oh, they don't do anything. Why would they do that? And it's because, hey, maybe something's going to happen at the next show that's going to lead back to that. And I think we got really lucky with that Cherry one where you just talked about there, where they announced the bet. It shows the intelligence of our crowd too, but they just didn't, which I was really worried about, because I know culture these days that people are just going to shit over and be like, oh, poor Cherry.
Yeah.
But it's like, Cherry in this whole storyline, Cherry hasn't needed anyone to defend her or do anything else. Like, that's why I think she got the big pop. She came out and she defended herself. She got her own sort of comeback on the guys by being like, fuck you both. I'm going through and going to get my title match. So so I think that's been really cool. So that's the main thing for that one there. And I definitely recommend, if you haven't got tickets already, get out to it, because it's going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely. But you mentioned like dropping crumbs, for storylines as well, and you mentioned the Ricky Unsocial Jordan stuff. Like, that's been going on for years. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they haven't been like going head to head at every single show, but it's been like you could see that sort of that story sort of progressing and going up. And one of the things I found interesting is like the first PWA show I was at, I think Ricky South and Unsocial Jordan did a spot, and I think Jordan put a chair around his neck, or they did something like that. But then it was like the next show or the next follow up, there was nothing mentioned of it. I'm going, what happened? Like, what? Like, and then now, like, I think I saw something else like a few months later down the line. I'm like, okay, so they are all right, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I was sort of going, okay, I can get what's going on here now. And once I sort of figured that out, I was like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, like, it's sometimes we're going to spoon feed you and be like, here's everything you need to know. Other times, it will be just like, hey, here's something, and then it'll come back and pay. And then other times you'll have this massive big storyline all planned, and someone will decide they don't want to wrestle anymore. and it just throws everything out of whack. But yeah, like I think that's there. Like for the most part, I think, and I hope that we've built up enough good faith that people are invested. Yeah, Twitter's a piece of shit, but hopefully people are invested enough in our product, and even like you said, bring those new people along. We don't want to be there where we're just jamming everything down and making assumptions that they know it. So that's why sometimes we might tell the same story a couple of times, a couple of different ways, because we know, okay, cool, we're going to have a different audience there today. Like Selena's, when we went to that the first time, we had to be like, okay, cool, that's a bit out of our area to where we normally are around the factory. Let's just try and remind people about some of the stuff we're doing there and make it a bit more obvious. Whereas the factory, people are there all the time, so we can get away with doing, a Goober report live because people know, what it is there and can handle that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because, like, you can. I think you said you told the story the same way but different ways, or I think that's what you're saying. But I think you can do that, and like I think even if the crowd understands it, they're still seeing something different in the way it's being laid out for them as well. So I think it's just another layer to the onion, really, of what the story unfolds.
It is, and that's what wrestling is. It's an never-ending onion. It's probably a good way to put it. But you're always got layers that you're going to keep peeling off and peeling off and peeling off. Some of those layers join together. Some of them don't. Some of them just rip straight off. Some of them stick to the one underneath it and continue from there.
Yeah, exactly. But for yourself, like, do you like enjoy like the part of like trying to put storylines together and booking? Like, do you have much involvement in that?
Like I said, I don't like. Occasionally, I'll chuck in a little nugget here and there. Um,
Yeah,
I'm sure if it's something that like I do get interested in, and like I probably play around a little bit with the academy shows from time to time. But on the main ones, no, definitely not. It's just little bits and pieces. Like I've said to you when we're off air, I actually prefer not to know. One, so that way I can't spoil anything. And two, yeah, just because like that way I can watch it play out. I mentioned to you as well, like I was in MCW on the weekend, in the production room, organizing for the videos to get played, and they had on their Coliseum video and press play, and I was like, oh, Caveman Uggs in the Coliseum. That's how much my finger is on the pulse of the booking here. But I found out when I was in Melbourne that Caveman Ugg was in Coliseum. And I'm related to the guy, and he still didn't tell me, so that's always good.
you're related to Caveman Ugg?
Via marriage, so
Ugh.
yeah, he's cousins with my missus, so yeah, knowing the family forever.
Oh wow, a small world, huh?
I only met when I came to PWA. So he'd been wrestling for a while, and I'd been there forever. And they were always like, "Do you know this guy?" And I was like, "Nah." And they're like, "Same to him." We're like, "Nah." And they were like, "Ah, finally we meet." Um, but yeah, no. So but yeah, like the booking, like I have an interest in it, but at the same time, it's like I'll just add little bits and pieces here and there if I
Yeah,
think it's valid, and if it is, great, they use it. If they don't, then they get too hung up on it.
yeah, 100%. And like you mentioned being in Melbourne over the weekend for MCW show. How was it working for MCW over the weekend in the production room?
Cool. Like it's again something different, but I don't normally do on the PWA shows. When Jax Jordan's hanging out in Spain working on a TV project. And I guess Ben Anderson wasn't available because he was doing something else. And probably about 10 other people weren't available. Then they give me a call and I go down there and help out. But I've like Liam Neeson, I have a particular set of skills. But yeah, like it was cool. Like I've known those guys there forever. Like I don't know if it's public who owns it, but the guy that one of the guys that has an ownership in it, I've known them for well over 20 years. I'm one of the first people I ever met that you did anything with Australian wrestling. So probably 20, 25 years I've probably known them for when I would have been in about 15 or 16, somewhere around there. But yeah, so they're I've known them for ages, so that was cool to get down there, and then just being able to work in with their production team, who are saying they're not wrestling people unlike ours, um, but super dedicated to putting on a really good product and making sure everything lines up and all that sort of stuff. And that's only their second or third live stream. So, to
Oh
be
wow.
involved in that, I went down and helped them out the show before they did their first one. So they brought me back. So it must have been too bad. But yeah, just getting down there and helping them sort of pull that production side of things together too. So just helps all of us longer term to get that reach across all of Australian wrestling.
Yeah, and I think the production is one of the most important parts. Uh, if you're streaming your a show, like I think it's so important because that's like the representation of your brand. It's the representation of essentially the Australian product as well. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like I'm one of those people. Like if I love indie wrestling, so I'll go and watch random indie shows from wherever in the world on independent wrestling TV. And if the production's bad, I can't, like, it could be the best, you could have like the best wrestling in the world happening in the ring. But if the production's bad, the commentary is, terrible or whatever it is, I'm going to turn it off.
Yeah, like I think that's where we've been able to build up a lot of goodwill. Like the last show that we did for PWA, I think over what have we been streaming for 2 or 3 years now? We've been streaming. We've had 2 incidents where we've actually lost, either had coverage issues, or as what happened with the last show, it just cut out. And it wasn't on our end. Really clear on that. It wasn't on our end. And we're getting people messaging us and all that. And like, most of our fans understood. And I get the numbers. If you want to guess how many people asked for a refund, one person.
Yeah,
Only one
right.
person. Only they I think we've built up enough credibility that we deliver a good product, and that we always put on good quality streams, that people were like, okay, cool, like it's streaming, this kind of stuff happens. That was the first major downage we've had. The other one was just a bit of interference, but that was the first bit of interference, and the fact that only one person asked for a refund, everyone else was happy to sit there and wait for the replay to come back up. 24 hours later, I think it was less than 24 hours. I know because I had to stay up and do it. But yeah, like I think that speaks volumes on the trust that we've built with our audience as well. They haven't, but we haven't had that kind of backlash. People could have easily gone back and said, "Hey, fight, give me that," and be it no fault of our own. Fight could have easily said yes.
Jax was great calming down the live talent fight that night. But I
Yeah,
think,
and
but that's the sort of shit that's just out of like anyone's control. But like I find, like, I don't consider like a stream outage to be a production, like, you know what I mean? Like make bad production. I think that's just one of those things that happens with live TV. Sometimes there's shit that goes south that are out of anyone's control.
yeah, no, definitely. But I think, yeah, like I said, but I think we just built that good thing with the audience, like and even on Twitter, which I said is successful. Only really one person on there who lost their shit about it. And to be honest, I don't think they were watching the stream to begin with because it was all fixed before they said they started having issues. But that's just me being petty. But there was there was only one person coming through out of all the people that were watching that. So yeah, I think that shows it. And like you're right, if we were coming in there, we had dingy lighting, grainy footage, that sort of stuff on every show, I think definitely people would have switched out a long time ago.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, as far as with the with this big tour that's going on, you guys are going to the Gold Coast, you're going to Wollongong, you're going to the Roundhouse. I think is Canberra in there as well, or
It
did I?
is. So like, yeah, so we're kicking off, we do cherries, all that. Then we go the following week, we go up to Queensland and we do the Gold Coast in Brisbane, for Why No Queensland. So hopefully that place that does really well. We've been looking to try and get to Queensland for a while now, and this COVID just stopped us. So really looking forward to getting there, and we really hope that people come out and support it because we really, really, really want to do that on a regular basis. Because I want to go to SeaWorld and Movie World. But but no, we're really looking forward to getting up there for that, and we just hope that it's there. Like the guys up there at Freak Out Academy are working. We did really good and helped us out last time when we weren't able to actually leave the state. So now it's going to be great to get back up there with a full regular PWA crew that everyone's used to, plus also working with. There's already a bunch of promos that I've seen go out online from a number of the local Queensland talent as well. So it's going to introduce our audience to some new faces as well, and hopefully build the scene there. Then from Queensland we head down to Victoria for Coliseum. So 2 nights in Coliseum there. The venues are actually on the same street as each other. So we're in the Croxton on the 7th of October, and then the Thornbury Theatre on the 8th. And I actually did the run on Saturday when I got off the plane. Got off the plane after being delayed, and I did a run down to the Croxton, and it took me about 5 or 6 minutes to get down there from the theatre. So that's going to be a really good night, and they've got the tap house right next door to the Thornbury Theatre, so I'll definitely be enjoying that. And then we go to from there the following weekend after that. We go to on the 14th. We go to Wollongong Uni for Hits from the Gong. And that's probably, out of all the venues, that's probably the one that I'm as much as I love Queensland, that's probably one of the ones I'm looking forward to, because I did that venue, again, show my age, but 20 plus years ago when we did another big tour with another company. And it was fantastic. Like, loved it. It was one of the best venues at the time. It's probably changed a lot in 20 years, so we'll see. But it's at Wollongong Uni. In the uni hall, so really hoping that we get a bunch of people in there for that too. It's 18 plus, all these are 18 plus events, so really hoping people are going to come there. And then mate, we've got lots of shows from there. Then we've got the next night after Wollongong, we've actually got a crossover on the 15th of October with Newcastle Pro. So we're going to have PWA X Newey Pro, so that should be really, really cool. Then we're taking our first steps into Canberra, the ACT. So going into the ANU in Canberra, and again, that's going to be a new experience for us as well. Getting into there and seeing what that's like. Canberra's been doing really well over the last period of time. So 5 minutes from your home, cool. That's going to be the last show I talk to you about in a minute. 5 minutes from my home, but Canberra's going to be pretty cool as well to get down there and get into there, and then. On the 21st of October, that wraps up the tour. Sorry, that's the post is the wrong way around. I'll fix that. 21st of October, we've got the Roundhouse, and that is the huge, as we mentioned before, 900 seats available for that one there. A post went out yesterday mentioning that we will have a special guest for that show. We will have a special New Japan Pro Wrestling guest joining us on that event. And they'll take part in a match. Can definitely confirm that for you. It's not necessarily going to turn up and wave to the crowd. We will have a competitor waving. It's not Robbie Eagles. Although
that's why I saw someone comment on like one of the social media posts. I'm like, you fucking troll.
Yeah. So obviously, if Robbie's in the country, he will definitely be on that show. I can't see Robbie not wanting to be at the Roundhouse for this event. Absolutely, but we've got a guest from New Japan coming in who is making their debut. If you read the poster, making their debut. It's not someone coming back. Someone joining us for the very first time, and really looking forward to that, because we're really building a strong relationship with New Japan with all the things they've got happening at the moment. So I'd definitely get in there and purchase the tickets as soon as possible for that. And a bunch of other surprises planned for that show there too. So it is going to be one that is not to be missed. And then go for it.
I was just going to say that tour just sounds like it far out, man. That's a lot. That's a lot of shows, man. And there's a lot of opportunities for a lot of talent to be on PWA shows in Queensland, Victoria, Canberra. And I think Queensland especially, like, and I've said before, Queensland doesn't get a lot of love.
There is a bunch of great performers there in Queensland. Like, they don't need PWA to go there. They're running shows regularly and doing well. But they don't get a lot of exposure. So I'm hoping, and we're all hoping really, that by us going there and doing these shows, that talent's going to get some exposure that they wouldn't normally get. You're going to see quite a lot of stuff. I guarantee you're not going to go anywhere on social media for the next 2 or 3 weeks if you've liked anything or looked at any of it, had your Instagram scrolling through and stopped on any of our posters. I'm sure the algorithm is going to get you, and you're going to be seeing so much stuff there advertising these events. So that's only going to help everyone in wrestling longer term.
Yeah, no, I hope it does. I hope it does give that exposure to especially Queensland, because like I said, there is a lot of good talent there, and like I said, I feel like Queensland doesn't get a lot of love. I don't know why, but I think that this is going to be a good opportunity, for Queensland wrestling, to get some exposure, and also for PWA, doing such a massive tour as well. This is just next level shit.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I think, we announced that we signed with Select Music a few weeks back, and like we've been with them now for well over 12 months, probably more. Again, the pandemic probably hit us there, but we didn't want to come out and say, "Hey, we've just signed with one of Australia's biggest music labels," and we've got nothing to show for it. We
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that we wanted to make sure that we had, what is that, 13 shows or something crazy like that. But we're doing what's that, 3, 6, 9, 10 shows we've got happening there in between now and the end of October. So that's when you come out and announce, hey, we're with a touring company, we're doing this, we're doing that. And probably some more announcements coming out. I've definitely seen it on their socials, but I'll wait until we put it out on ours before I announce it. Go digging, people, you'll find it. But some other people that we're partnering with. There's all this stuff is happening now, and we want to make sure we're doing it for a reason, because otherwise you lose it. There's only so much space that you can get and so much buzz you can get. If we announce it, then don't announce a show for 6 months. What have you achieved?
Yeah, I completely agree. Do you feel like after a tour like this, like the next step, for PWA would be like a national television deal?
I don't know. Like it's hard to say. Like it would be great. I think TV would be quite helpful for us, and I think we would perform really well. Looking at some of the other homegrown shows that are around there. But when you look at the competition, streaming is such a beast now, and you're not limited in streaming. You're not limited just to Australia. You've got worldwide. So Fight are great partners for us as far as getting stuff out there. But yeah, you're right. From a stream market, people probably, you ask 9 out of 10 people, they're not going to know what Fight TV is unless they are a wrestling or mixed martial arts or a boxing fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know if TV is the right answer. Like, you've got some other people have done some stuff on TV recently, and get a little bit of a buzz out of it. But it's what are you giving up to get that as well? Like, you don't want to just sign a TV deal to have a TV deal and say, hey, I'm on TV. We're really selective, even the stuff with the collabs that we do. So we did the morning TV the other week. If morning TV, that's like some of the highest rated TV stuff that's on free to air TV.
Yeah.
You would think we'd have massive buzz off it. Like it's not what you're not seeing us. We're not being booked on every single show there is around the world based on being on that segment of TV. So it's a nice to have, but is it something that we see as the next level? I think the next level for us is really doing this tour. This is our first tour. Being able to go back and run another tour in 3 or 6 months time and adding more dates to it. I think that's the thing for us. And if we run the tours, we run the good shows, we fill the venues, we'll run more shows, we'll fill more venues. And that's how we're going to build our reputation. Then if it comes time to getting TV or streaming or something like that, we've built up that fan base and really got that there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think that the fan base with PWA keeps growing, all the time. And as we spoke about earlier, is like new people go to shows, and that's where they get hooked. And I feel like the Roundhouse show, 900 people. I've got a feeling PWA will sell that show out.
We hope so. We hope so. Like it's we've used the term a couple of times around the office, and that is like taking that big swing. This is well and truly a big swing. Like it's not like we're running these shows out of the local, and there's no knock on that, but we're not running these shows out of the local RSL club, and can get away with having 50 people there or something like that. Like, these are very expensive venues that we're running, and high priced production, all these costs that we have to try and recoup. So we want to make sure, and lots of shitloads of money on advertising you're going to start seeing soon.
I can imagine.
Like, we don't want to be doing all this work to be going in front of the same 400 people. We love the 400 people we get, but like we said, we want to get 800 people. We want to get 1,200 people after that. Then we want to get 1,600 people.
I think, like, whatever you're putting out, whether it's wrestling or any type of content, you always want to be growing your audience, and that's the key thing about it as well. And I think that's what as entertainers, or in any form of content creation, you want to try and get more and more numbers as you gradually go. PWA has got a very strong, loyal fan base, and it does, and you do see it keep on growing. Like, you see people that are new fans to it, that didn't even know Australian wrestling even existed.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, and it's it's also from like, as part of that building process. Like, I'm a tragic, so I'll keep doing it forever as long as I'm enjoying myself and there's people around. But I know how many hours I put into it each week, and I couldn't imagine the number of hours that the people that own it put into it. And if you think about that, and people open their eyes and look at our show, and like, we're talking, oh great, we're going to get 400 people there. Do the math on that someday to work out how much that works out for those people are actually making after they pay the venue, pay the wrestlers, all that sort of stuff. And actually, then if anything is left, paying themselves something. And then think about, would you do all that work for your job and come away with so little money? And not that it's crying poor is me, whatever, that sort of stuff, but it's just about saying that the amount of effort we're putting into this, we're not treating it like it's a second job, like it's a backyard venture. It's a professional wrestling company that we want to grow. We want this to be there, not just for us, but for people to actually have a product in Australia that they can rely on and call their own, and say, hey, we watch PWA, and that links right up there with anything else.
Yeah. I definitely, you definitely see that the commitment that everyone in PWA has for it, and the proof is in the pudding. But we have just hit that 1 hour mark. We are going to start wrapping up. JT, thank you for coming on and having this conversation with me, man. Like I said, it's always good to have a chat with you. I just look up and just see an hour's gone, and it feels like it's been 10 minutes. Man, like, where can everyone find you on social media, and where can everyone find PWA?
Just on the Future Shock everywhere, I guess. It's very boring. There's not a whole lot on there. I normally just retweet stuff. But definitely check that out. But PWA, definitely check out prowrestlingaustralia.com.au. All the information there for our LFG tour is up. Pro Wrestling Australia, or PWA Australia, on all the socials. Definitely look us up on there. There are some more big announcements coming after time. We just announced that we're working with the New Japan group that are starting up in Australia. They're coming out. We're going everywhere. Who knows who might turn up at any of our shows coming up. I'll leave it at that. But also, just really, really, really get out there and support those things there. Like, I'm not meaning to come across like, oh, that dodgy wrestling promoter. Oh, get out there and buy a ticket. We really need you. We do need you, but at the same time, these are going to be fun events and great events, and I'm hoping that people can really get out and support it.
Absolutely. Make sure you go and check out PWA and support them. Tune in on Fight TV, or get out to a live show, because they're coming to a city near you. But JT, thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again very, very soon. Take care. All the best. Peace.